Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game, GodFather versus Grubby. This game taking place here on Autumn Leaves 2.0. Well, if I feel excuse me, wow. If I feel a little rush, it's because I am. Tried to cast, XSplit wasn't launching for like a good 15-20 minutes, trying to hammer out some bugs, and now only get to cast one game for you guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down. GodFather opening things up with a Dreadlord first, not the typical hero. Meanwhile, Grubby opening things up with a Mountain King. Grubby playing Orc, no, not normally playing Orc, this time playing Human, and we'll see what, well, one of the most famous Orc players in history does with a Human. Mountain King on the way out here. Undead versus Human in this 1v1 matchup. Mountain King looking to perhaps a Stormbolt or do something, going after this Sasquatch shop, which is a 5-4-3 creep camp, and will give level 2 if he gets all the final hits. Alright, quickly goes after the Forest Troll Berserkers and the Forest Troll Trappers. Those are the ones that deal the larger bits of damage compared to their health and how much damage they can take. Remove the high DPS creeps first, and then go after the beefier units. Right? Don't go after the tanks first. You'll find yourself having lower hit points overall on all of your units, and then just opening up for a difficult matchup. Alright, Sludge Flinger, Skeleton Warrior, and Skeleton Archer all going to get cleared out here. There's a little bit of slow cast there. Footman trying to get a good surround on that Sludge, unable to do exactly that. Meanwhile, Dreadlord has opened things up with a Ziggurat, and now clearing up this gold mine. Now, Mountain King easily going to clear out of this giant skeleton warrior, and both sides, GodFather able to get a good sleep on that footman, and then get a unit surround, ensuring the kill, giving level 2 to that Dreadlord. Footman, did scout out that Dreadlord, noticed that the Scroll of Town Portal was missing, and now we see Grubby quickly, already in position to try and set up an expo of his own. Trying to set one up a little bit further away from all of the action, as, expanding towards your opponent is generally an aggressive maneuver, and it's not something you normally want to do in WarCraft 3. You generally aren't purposely trying to expand towards your opponent at all, as we are looking at, the Mountain King going after some of these units here. Ghouls are coming across. Are we going to see, a big Thunderclap, and there was some damage there. That big Thunderclap slowing things down, as allowing a couple of the units to also escape. Nicely done here. Mountain King sitting at level 2, could have Stormbolted to get the last hit and perhaps get to level 3. That would have been an interesting call here, as we see a Ghoul about to get taken down. One more shot. There's level 3, as the Mountain King now has level 2 Thunderclap, and with level 2 Thunderclap, all of those Ghouls are going to suffer large amounts of damage. Rod of Necromancy charges, still 4 skeletal minions trying to make their way over. Mountain King has enough for one more Thunderclap, maybe a second one if the time goes on long enough. Meanwhile, Dreadlord picking up the Vitality. Stormbolt snipe downs a Ghoul, as we're looking at more Ghouls getting lost here. Are we going to see a Thunderclap? No, we are not. Another Ghoul about to get lost. It gets taken down, and we just see a bunch of skeletal minions here. Alright, slow clap, cleaning up all of these skeletal minions, and from there we see a Carrion Swarm added in as well. GodFather blowing things over with that Carrion Swarm, trying to rack up damage, as we may see GodFather in a bit of trouble. Are the peasants going to be able to make their way out? There goes another, and it is going to be body blocked. He does in fact have very importantly, a Cloak of Shadows, and he is going to be hidden right there, as we see this Scout Tower now needs to get repaired up as well. What is going to go down? A little bit of damage here. We're going to see some more repairs, and now it is currently about to fall, trying to repair, trying to keep it up. It now has a little bit more armor. A Staff of Teleportation inbound. Mountain King says, "What are you going to do? I'm going to finish you off." Mountain King comes across with Dust of Appearance. Dreadlord falls at level 2, but, Grubby is not out of the woods yet. GodFather already operating with that haunted gold mine. There's a little bit of creeping happening underway. I'm still not sure. Resurrect at the tavern. That is a little bit of a, very dangerous proposition, as we're going to see some low hit point footmen perhaps try and run away and retreat. All right, Stormbolt finding the back of the Dreadlord. Dreadlord is going to have some problems again. Are we going to get a surround? We are. And now both sides are fighting their way through. There's a Dust of Appearance already being used. Mountain King pretty much saying, you know what, I got more armor. I got everything. I am good. Ghouls now being forced to retreat back. And, well, we know where that extra gold went. Dreadlord is back out onto the battlefield. Mountain King doesn't have enough mana. Has a Stormbolt. Well, eventually, with the Dreadlord's name on it, but the Dreadlord will be able to retreat back and get under the protection of that Nerubian tower. Now, with all of that said and done, ghouls are going to try and swarm into this position here. Grubby needs to get this expo up and running. One peasant down, more ghouls going after additional peasants here. We are still sitting at tier 1 on the southern side. GodFather going into tier 2. As GodFather, well, is behind in terms of experience, and that could be a difference here. All right, couple of easy kills there, more damage being done. Peasant trying to, well, create a little bit of a wall-off position, protecting himself, pushing himself in between those two locations there, knowing, well, knowing how the buildings work in WarCraft 3 in order to protect himself. Back off to the north, Dreadlord looking to clear out this Null Warden creep camp, get to level 3, does get there, and does go for level 2 carry on Swarm. PJ Nom, everyone, hi. Thanks for tuning in, however you may be watching or listening. So glad you're here. Mountain King, well, could be in a little bit of trouble here. Those dual Nerubian towers really slowing things down. Are we looking at perhaps a Thunderclap? No, Staff of Teleportation in order to get to a new position and a sleep onto the Mountain King. Mountain King is now slept away from all of his units. Difficult to wake up. There goes one ghoul there. A little bit more damage. And Mountain King perhaps going to be able to get a Scroll of Town Portal out of this tough spot, as he's trying to focus down a couple more of these acolytes. All right, Mountain King down to 143 hit points, and still, well, is he going to try to cut it down to the last wire, down to 74.55? There's the Scroll of Town Portal, and with that, did any damage get hit onto these acolytes? Yes, one acolyte was taken down during the upgrade process, so that is going to be some resources lost. All right, Grubby, 6 peasants on this gold mine. Meanwhile, we are teching to tier 2. We are going for that blacksmith. Grubby not building it over at the expo, which is normally the strategy, as well, having your own buildings act as a little wall and deterrent, always helpful. There's a Stormbolt going down. Mountain King gonna have a little bit of a tough problem. Goes for a Thunderclap here, trying to slow things up. Is he gonna be able to get some damage across any of these units? Mountain King playing a very dangerous game, down to 8 hit points and able to escape. All right, Mountain King, what exactly is he trying to do? He is using a Scroll of Regeneration for himself. That is not a healing salve, that is a Scroll of Regeneration. The regeneration is slow and long, as the Mountain King, well, tries to figure out where he can perhaps run off to. There's a Potion of Invisibility, and with that, buying a Scroll of Healing as well. Footman gonna run into the gold mine once more, perhaps try and disrupt things. Additional towers being placed down by Grubby, guard towers, instead of the arcane, perhaps to try and deal with some of those ghouls, as a couple of acolytes purposely backed away, but the other two didn't get the memo. We are also looking at the Dreadlord here. Dreadlord is in position, perhaps can get a strong carry on Swarm. Both sides, the Mountain King and the Dreadlord, playing a game of invisible heroes to perhaps try and get a little bit of last burst damage down onto some of these units. Mountain King, well, still not quite sure. Dreadlord is gaining experience. Mountain King is gaining experience. Who is going to be suffering more, as the Necropolis is nearly done? Both heroes, well, standing, well, pretty much face to face with each other, but unable to see the other here, as no one really wants to commit. Coming back down. Farms being constructed here. We're looking at, well, we're looking at 39 over 62 supply, quickly going into castle. I don't see any workshops yet. We are getting, well, the weapons upgrades, the melee weapon upgrades here, perhaps going into a couple of knights as at tier 3. All right, Mountain King does a surprise. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability used by the Dreadlord. Gargoyle is in position. There is a sleep now on that Mountain King. Mountain King could be in a little bit of trouble, able to squeeze through a gap in the wall there, as we see another sleep now going down onto that Mountain King. Mountain King trying to wake up, finds himself completely surrounded by a whole bunch of ghouls. Are we going to see, well, the Blood Mage now nearby? Perhaps going to funnel a little bit of mana into that Mountain King here. Perhaps we'll need to see some Riflemen to also deal with those Gargoyles, as we are looking now instead going into Griffin Aviary. All right, Griffin Aviary, Animal War Training, Dragonhawk Riders to try and shackle down those Gargoyles. But remember, well, Gargoyles actually pretty much own Dragonhawk Riders in equal supply numbers, since Dragonhawk Riders cost 3 versus 2. If there is a Gargoyle free, the Gargoyle can easily cause problems. And now we're going to see a Stormbolt. Well, beautiful dodge by the Dreadlord, using that Swirl of Town Portal to gain invulnerability at the last possible moment. Mountain King looking to get to level 5 or just gain a little bit of experience here. There's another ensnare there. Rifleman coming in. Potion of Healing used after dropping that Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3. Didn't see the Circlet of Nobility. Would have been a nice little gesture to try and get more hit points on that Mountain King still. All right. Both sides still fighting their way through. Dreadlord is by himself. This is solo Dreadlord to play? No, not. Death Knight now getting trained behind all of this for those burst heals. All right. A little bit of damage coming back across. Sasquatch will get cleaned up. Dreadlord does have Vampiric Aura for all of these units here. Ring of Protection +4. Selling some items. Perhaps going to pick up that Ring of Protection +4. Deciding to hold on to the Cloak of Shadows, interestingly enough, as it did save his life a bit earlier. Death Knight now out. Peasants on their way off to the north, perhaps trying to take another base. Grubby currently sitting at 50 over 76 supply, compared to GodFather is 50 over 60. Both sides banking up gold, and both sides perhaps going to try to break into low upkeep here in just a moment. Meanwhile, Blood Mage around the corner does have a Staff of Sanctuary, and we see a Death Coil coming across for that Dreadlord there. All right, Stormbolt, however, well, the Blood Mage really needs perhaps Banish Stormbolt, a nasty 1-2 combination onto any of those units there, as the Death Knight losing some of his precious mana. All right, there's a Thunderclap there. It looks as though, yes, one dead Gargoyle shot out of the sky. This Footman, yeah, just pretty much going to get denied by Grubby there. No longer really worth it. All right, well, Blood Mage is looking to try and siphon more mana from the Dreadlord and that Death Knight, trying to play a little bit of a dangerous game. There's a Death Coil, there's a Holy Light. Rifleman trying to retreat back. Mountain King still in that front 9 spot. Is he going to get another Holy Light there? There goes a Carrion Swarm ripping on through, and it's just 3 heroes going up against an army of Gargoyles and 2 heroes. Stormbolt onto the Dreadlord. Dreadlord could be in trouble. Holy Light finishes it off, and now it's only a level 1 hero there. The level 4 Dreadlord sniped down, giving level 5 to that Mountain King. All right. Oh, look at this. Dreadlord once more getting resurrected. Blood Mage could funnel in a good amount of mana into that Mountain King. Not quite sure why he isn't doing that. That is going to be key. There's Dragonhawk Riders here, and now there's the funneling there. Blood Mage could be in trouble. There's a Holy Light. He's trying to stay alive. Scroll of Town Portal. No, he's going to banish himself. Death Knight doesn't have enough mana to Death Coil the Blood Mage while he's in that ethereal form, as the Blood Mage goes back, and now down to, well, 4 hit points. Playing on a razor's edge, literally trying to balance aggression, as we are looking at Grubby behind this has built an expo with towers already. Masonry upgrades, level 1 completed at the lumber mill. Units are going to try and retreat their way out. Perhaps Staff of Sanctuary to be used. Yeah, no, the pallet, yeah, just a Staff of Sanctuary, a unit, there you go, trying to Staff of Sanctuary the Mountain King and that Blood Mage. Off to the north, Healing Hordes dropped down by GodFather. He's clearing up this creep camp nicely. 56 supply compared to 50, but, well, Grubby taking a play out of Moon's playbook with a very, very large economy going. Could be getting about 30 gold a second here in just in just a minute. All right, Gargoyles, well, sniping down these units here. Are we going to see some more damage? There goes a quick shackle, but the Dragonhawk Rider knows that he can't shackle anything unless he has coverage from those guard towers here. Now, Grubby is going to start banking some gold, and then perhaps try and burst into about low or mid 70s, mid to high 70s. There goes a shackle there, as the Dragonhawk Rider says, you know what? I can't allow all of this here. There's a quick Holy Light once more trying to save without any movement speed bonus. Those gargoyles with fast movement speed in addition to the Unholy Aura able to close in on those Dragonhawk Riders quickly. Now, still waiting. Grubby also perhaps a bit low on lumber, going for a third Griffin Aviary, getting advanced masonry and also additional advanced lumber harvesting for well, more collection. There we have it. There is Cloud, well, shutting down the Nerubian towers here, and now with that, these acolytes are going to fall one at a time, and that's going to give well a little bit of more of an economic boost. There's a thunderclap there. The Dragonhawk Rider quickly gets Frost Nova taken out, and there's a scroll of Town Portal to retreat and back away again. Grubby now bursting into low upkeep, 66 supply over 88. Siphon mana into that Mountain King there. Mountain King now with level 3 Stormbolt, level 2 Thunderclap, wanting to, well, bolt down those units. Clarity Potion now on the Blood Mage in the backfield. We're looking at 2 Staff of Sanctuaries. Paladin still sitting at level 1, though, as we see the Gargoyles perhaps going to try and rush on in. Carrion Swarm ripping through. Repairs are needed, even with level 2 Masonry upgrades. These guard towers are not going to be able to hold. Scroll of Healing able to well, keep those gargoyles alive as the second guard tower about to fall. Arcane Tower desperately trying to remove mana here. Dragonhawk Riders trying to make their way over, and here's a tactical retreat. Are we going to see a couple of shackles? Yes, we are. 1 gargoyle down, and well, Dragonhawk Riders with 1-2 upgrades going up against here. All right. Guard towers quickly being thrown back up, needing to keep those alive. 1-1 upgrades. Dragonhawk Riders do have more hit points, significantly so, but look at that damage, 62 to 80 for a fast attack speed in melee. Add in the fact that there is also Vampiric Aura, and those gargoyles, well, are going to be hard to slowly chip away unless they're getting focus fired down. All right, Granite Golem here. Units are going to go ahead and fire and fight around. We're going to see 1 Dire Wolf get taken out here, but in comes the Gargoyles. Gargoyles finding a way, as we see a Carrion Swarm as well. Paladin still only sitting at level 1 after all this time. A little bit of aggression here, and who's going to be able to get out, clear up this creep camp and get that precious experience and perhaps a useful item. Both sides continuing to fight their way through. Are we going to see the, well, a little bit of damage here. Unit's going to try and retreat back. Dire Frost Wolf does have a roar. Granite Golem is fighting, and this should give level 2 to the Paladin. That Mountain King purposely backing away as the Medallion of Courage is left behind. Medallion of Courage, strength and intelligence, exactly what that Paladin needs. Meanwhile, the Blood Mage gets up to level 3. All right. Battle to the skies, level 5 Dreadlord, level 3 Death Knight, level 2 Lich with a whole bunch of gargoyles. It looks like, yes, some dark rituals also for the Lich, and I guess the Lich looks at everything and just kind of sees a mana pot at this point in stage in the game. Paladin, Holy Light on that Blood Mage. Paladin, the one needing a little bit of additional heals. Are we going to see an engagement? There's a Carrion Swarm going underneath the Dragonhawk Riders. A bit of damage there. Scroll of Regeneration or Scroll of Healing may be necessary. Meanwhile, Grubby is sitting at 80 over 100 supply and continuing to just bank up gold here. We are at level 2 Masonry upgrade, not going for level 3, but still there are plenty of towers around. Third and final base for GodFather also set up on the top left. So both sides getting now, what is that, 21 gold a second while all 3 bases are operational. As we see some Arcane Tower, there's a Death Coil. Oh, nope, no Death Coil. Dragonhawk Riders coming across, and there is a bunch of shackles. Who's going to come in this battle? There's a Carrion Swarm, and this is a game of numbers. There's a Scroll of Healing, or there's well, there's some healing, there's some sleep, and the Dragonhawk Riders need to reshackle some units. They cannot just be sitting back into this fight here, as we are seeing the Gargoyles just completely overwhelmed. Lich, however, getting this slow clapped down, as we see the Lich fall at level 3. Meanwhile, Paladin using a Divine Shield. Both sides are still fighting. 65 supply compared to 55. Grubby somehow has the supply lead, but there are still plenty of gargoyles in the sky here. Maybe an Orb of Fire or something could be helpful as the Death Knight gets banished here temporarily. Mountain King does have an Orb of Fire, so Mountain King is actually doing exactly that, trying to auto-attack the air and take down the units. Paladin gets up to level 3 now, and we're still fighting its way through. Paladin does not have an Orb of Fire. Perhaps he's going to benefit from one as well. as we see some more Siphon Mana. All right, there's a Holy Light. Dragonhawk Riders getting ready, coming across to engage. Staff of Sanctuary should perhaps send a couple of low hit point Dragonhawk Riders back to the castle and heal up. Grubby, apparently not too familiar with the Staff of Sanctuary. So far, I've only seen him use it outside of battle, and it's still useful outside of battle, but a couple of earlier saves could have perhaps swung the battle better for Grubby. It is not saying Grubby is a bad player by any means, just saying that a couple of clutch Staff of Sanctuaries during the fight could have helped him win more. All right. Stormbolt finding the Death Knight. Blood Mage, Siphon Mana back into that Mountain King. Mountain King nearly topped off, ready to go. Stormbolts galore. There is another Stormbolt right there. No follow-up banish. I would have thought perhaps a Siphon Mana. There's a Death Coil, Orb of Fire, and now here we are. Here we go. Carrion Swarm and the Gargoyles show up to the party. Mountain King going to be in a little bit worse for wear. What's going to happen? Mountain King or a Paladin could be in trouble. There's a Staff of Sanctuary save. I believe that was from the Blood Mage, and now the Blood Mage using a Scroll of Town Portal in order to get out of this, well, dicey spot. All right, good use of Staff of Sanctuary right before the Scroll of Town Portal to save that Dragonhawk Rider once more. And it's all about, well, being able to heal up your units and prevent them from falling. We are getting into a dangerous spot now where hero levels are going to, well, add more direct damage in Holy Light, Stormbolt, Death Coil, Frost Nova. As GodFather gets higher up in level, if GodFather gets to level 5 on all 3 of his undead heroes, Carrion Swarm, Death Coil, and Frost Nova working together will make short work of these Dragonhawk Riders. As the same can be said of Holy Light, Stormbolt, and Banish, though, but that really targets more on the hero units instead of trying to target the actual armies. So different approaches with these two armies here, as the Gargoyles pretty much all stacked up on top of each other. Here we go. Engagement. Gargoyles trying to fight their way through. 75 supply compared to 60. Who has the larger army? Army sizes are about the same overall, as we see a Scroll of Protection there. Stormbolt finishing off a Lich, I believe, as we see a Scroll of Town Portal. Dreadlord trying to get away and able to get away there. Now that the Gargoyles are no longer here, the peasants are coming over to provide, well, guard towers. Normally this would be easily and quickly spotted because there are gargoyles, but because there are no gargoyles to see past this tree line, well, these scout towers can get placed down, and what can end up happening now is we could actually see perhaps a town hall being built here that already has a bit of protection. Paladin coming back with an undead army on its tail. Here we go. Gargoyles, are they going to try to go after those towers? No, they are not. Going straight after the Dragonhawk Riders. Both sides fighting their way through. Gargoyles, however, going to find and rip through many of those Dragonhawk Riders, and the Dragonhawk Riders pretty much being forced to retreat. All of these guard towers going to get canceled before, well, they can become completed, as the Dreadlord now gets up to level 6, perhaps going to be able to summon an Infernal here in just a moment. Dreadlord, well, Cloak of Shadows put on midday, not moving invisible there, as the Dreadlord is pretty much just laughing at his opponents. You tried to surround me. That Dreadlord Cloak of Shadows making a difference there. Perhaps it was the right item to hold on to back when I said it wasn't. Meanwhile, Siphon Mana off of the Death Knight. Death Knight now low on mana again. Mountain King. Is he going to be able to finish off any of these units? There goes a Stormbolt and, well, auto attack and a Stormbolt. Are we going to perhaps see some more Staff of Sanctuaries? There goes another Gargoyle. So really, the Mountain King with Orb of Fire dealing some decent damage. Siphon Mana away again from the Dreadlord. The Dreadlord is at level 6, but has not been able to actually summon up an Infernal yet, as the Blood Mage has just constantly been taking mana away. Down to the south, we see main gold mines have been mined out. These guard towers, well, did not get completed. However, the haunted gold mine was destroyed. We're looking at 10 gold a second by GodFather, since he's no longer in upkeep, going up against 14 gold a second by Grubby, who will soon be running out of gold at his starting expansion. All right, Gargoyles need to make a strong play again. But the question is, where are the armies and how is this all going to unfold? All right, gargoyles are 1-1 upgraded compared to the 2-2 upgraded Dragonhawk Riders. And with that, difficult to know who's going to come out on top. Perhaps an Infernal getting summoned down can stun down some units and, well, lock up some kills, as GodFather loses pretty much the majority of this forward outpost. Sleep onto the Paladin, Stormbolt onto the Dreadlord. Dreadlord gonna lose a little bit of mana as the Blood Mage now retreats back again. Alright, a quick banish there. Dreadlord does have dual potions of mana, so he does want to summon down an Infernal given the opportunity, and still want to use those carry-on swarms. 71 supply compared to 46. Grubby's starting to pull away now, sitting on 2 bases. Perhaps he's just going to finish mining off of this one, get into 80 supply, and then try and make a push of some sort. Mountain King not yet at level 6. Meanwhile, Lich is still getting resurrected, finally back out on the battlefield at level 3. Alright, Knights with 2-0 upgrades. Also remember Devotion Aura for the Dragonhawk Rider, so they essentially have 2-3 upgrades here. A couple of peasants making their way across. The necropolis is still in position, and Grubby is pretty much just building these guard towers or scout towers directly in front of this necropolis, saying, I am going to build a town hall here. What are you going to do? As we see Illusion Lich. There's a banish right there, and Death Knight unable to regain into that front line spot. Are we going to see some Siphon mana? Gargoyles, Staff of Sanctuary trying to save some low hit point Dragonhawk Riders. Gargoyles are trying to close in on that distance. Death Knight, oh, the banish on the Death Knight to make him in the backline spot, giving limited movement speed for the Gargoyles in the front to close in on that distance. Meanwhile, we see Stormbolt onto the Dreadlord. Dreadlord could have some problems. No, Dreadlord okay there. The banish not enough with the Stormbolt to finish him off, as these scout towers get cleaned up again. 68 supply compared to 47, as the Dreadlord still pushing on through. Lich, is it going to get... Lich is still out on the battlefield, but doesn't have much mana. And it's really the Blood Mage limiting the amount of mana on the undead. And without Obsidian statues, well, the undead heroes just simply do not have enough time to get mana to, well, open up some plays with those Death Coils, Frost Novas, and Carry-On Swarms. We are on 1 base versus 1 base. New Haunted Gold Mine trying to be established. This gold mine, about 8 minutes left. This one, still plenty off to the north, as we're going to be engaging here. Hello from Netherlands. All right, Grubby, Homeland. Flying Machines. A quick tech change into Flying Machines. A quick tech change into Flying Machines. An Infernal getting summoned down. Flying Machines going after all of those Gargoyles. Gargoyles absolutely getting shredded. The flak cannons, that piercing damage, and a quick tech change catching all of those Gargoyles pretty much off guard. So Flying Machines and Knights now, instead of the massed Dragonhawk Riders that we've been seeing for the past, well, 10 minutes. All right, Staff of Sanctuary saving some low hit point units. 3 Staff of Sanctuaries, bringing them all back home. Avatar on that Mountain King. Stormbolt just in time to finish off the Dreadlord. The Death Knight had sent a Death Coil, but did not hit the target in time. That sudden tech change right there, these 2 workshops training up all of those Flying Machines, and the Flying Machines also had the level 2 weapon upgrades. So this was well planned by Grubby, getting to 2-0 weapon upgrades on those Flying Machines to make sure that they had an impact on those Gargoyles who were so tightly packed together. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.